Hello everyone. In this video we'll see what is lambda expressions in Java and how they work. So what is lambda expressions? Lambda expressions is simply an implementation of a functional interface. And what is a functional interface? A functional interface is simply an interface which has only one abstract method. So it's a Java interface like all the interfaces we know, but the only difference is a functional interface has only one abstract method. So Lambda expressions are an implementation of this functional interface, and they were introduced in Java 8. And the goal from Lambda expressions is we write less code and we write a more readable code. And for the syntax of the Lambda expressions, it's pretty simple. We have the argument list, this arrow sign, and the body. Now let's see how they work with an example. Okay, so now we have this. I created this animal interface and I give it this abstract method called eat. Uh, I give it this annotation functional interface to make sure that it's a functional interface because if I try to add another method, it will give me an error because, as I said, multiple overriding abstract method found in interface. So when I add this annotation functional interface, it does not let me to add another method. So this is what we call a functional interface. Now let's go to our main method, okay? And here let's try to create a new animal instance. So if we use the normal way, we will have to implement this abstract method to create a new instance. Okay, so let's say let's print eaten and food. So if I execute this method, eat, let's say apple, and there we go, it works, eating apple. But the issue with this approach is we write a lot of code and we don't have to do all of this. We can just use Lambda expression. So how Lambda expression works? So let's create a new animal instance. Let's call it animal 1. And here we won't use the new animal syntax and create this method, but we will be using the Lambda expression. And as I said, Lambda expression are an implementation of a functional interface. So this is the syntax of a functional of of a Lambda expression. So here we write the parameters, and we have only one parameter that we specified in the interface, which is food. You can give it whatever name you want. I'm gonna give it food. And then we do something with this food, and I will print it to the console using eating and food. So, so if I use animal one dot eat, let's give it this time chicken, it will work the same way. There we go. So it worked pretty good. But the difference is this time we don't have to write all of this code. We only have basically one line of code. We can just bring it right here. So we only have one line of code, which is pretty cool. Now let's see a real example of a Lambda expression that we use a lot in real life. And the example I'll show you is for list. So let's say we have this list of integers. Let's call it list, and let's give it as a list, and let's give it some integers 1, 5, 1, 9. Okay, Now, what I want to show you is the for each method. So, for each method. Now, let me quickly show you the code source of this for each. So, if we go to the for each uh, method, we will see that it takes a consumer. And what is this consumer? This consumer is a functional interface. See? So this consumer is a functional interface and it has this one and only method called accept that takes a variable. So the same way we did with the animal, we can do with this for each. So we have two choices, either use the consumer uh, new consumer and implement this accept method. And let's say I want to print all the integers. So integer, and it will work. So if I execute the main method, it will work. We have all our numbers printed, but we obviously never use the for each like this because the goal from using or the goal of creating this consumer functional interface is to use Lambda expression. So we don't want to use this implementation. I just did it for you to see how it works actually. But instead we will be using Lambda expression. And as I said, it's pretty easy. It takes a parameter. Let's give it a name, number, okay? And we can just print num, which is number. And it will work. So if we execute, I should have the number printed for me. There we go. So this is the first one from here. And this is the second one from here. And as we saw, guys, using Lambda expressions, it's very clean and very precise and also very less code. And as I said before, we have with Java 8, it was introduced a lot of functional interfaces like consumer that help us to write functional or to write the Lambda expressions. So this is how Lambda expression actually work, and I hope this has helped you. Thank you.